You're listening to Empowered to Lead, the Therapist Practice. I'm Lisa Catello, therapist, business coach, and your go-to for all things leadership and sustainable practice growth. This is your space for real talk, smart strategies, and grounded support to help you lead with confidence, work with intention, and build a business that actually works for you. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Empowered to Lead podcast. I have Krista Helman here from Ottawa. We were just laughing because technology counted us down and feels like that puts a little bit of like, oh, this is actually happening. Here we go. So we've counted down. Here we are. If you have been listening to Empowered to Lead over the last few months, you know that one of the things that I really want to do is share the experience of people who are group practice owners and just how that looks as leaders, what their group practice looks like, because we all are unique. And while there are definitely foundations and pieces and systems that I think help run a group practice well, each of us have a different personality and a different way of leading and a different kind of culture. And so I think it helps to hear the experiences of other people. And I'm really excited to have Krista join us today. Her experience, you have been stretched this year or 2025. And so I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more of your story here and sharing that with others. The first question I start off with everybody is, how would you describe yourself as a leader? Actually, I'm going to back up a little bit. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? That might help. And where you have come from, the name of your practice, and then how would you describe yourself as a leader?
Sure. So my name is Krista Helman. I'm a social worker in Ontario, and I'm also a registered social worker or a registered clinical social worker in British Columbia. And I have founded and I'm the executive director of the Trauma and Grief Institute in Ottawa. And we have 15 clinicians, and I guess we'll talk about it, but we offer psychotherapy as well as some other things. I would say that I describe myself as an active listener and always trying to be adaptable. I really try and keep in mind that people learn in different ways. So, some people need to be shown something. Some people need to, try it first before they receive feedback. And so my leadership is, I very much ask questions, get information, then give feedback, and really try and put myself in their shoes to see what is going to be the most beneficial response for this particular person. So I would say, like, if you were to ask somebody, they might say that I'm attentive and growth oriented, because I really try and say, like, I'm here to help support you in your growth in your practice and you as a human.
And what I know of you, growth-oriented, would be a very good description out of you. You don't let the grass grow under you for too long, do you?
That is a strength and a weakness all in one.
So as a group practice owner, tell us a little bit about your journey to this role. So you've got 15 people under your umbrella. What has that been like?
Yeah, so I'll go back to 2019. I was an independent practitioner working in this decrepit building, and there was, one other clinician in the building. And I realized when I moved into, practicing psychotherapy full time that it can be a pretty lonely position. We very much work in silos. And so this other clinician and I decided to open up a clinic together just so that we could have community. And so together, she and I opened up West Ottawa Wellness, which was a clinic in Ottawa. And at the time, it was just fee for use. So clinicians just paid for space, and that was great. And her group practice grew, and she's now moved on, and I took over the space. And so West Ottawa Wellness closed, and the Trauma and Grief Institute, which was my independent practice, is now a group practice. And so we have 9 office spaces and, as I mentioned, 15 clinicians or so. And there's lots. And so we transformed from being a space where there was very little, there was still things that need to be done to run the practice. There was still the admin side and making sure there's supplies. to now I'm really trying to run an organization that offers a more holistic approach to the community. And so there's more things to consider, both at the business level of running, the practical stuff in the practice, but also trying to engage with community and organizations and learning what the needs are.
What would you say are all the hats that you wear? You're author, right?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'm trying to get rid of some hats.
Okay.
But yeah, so in addition to me being a social worker and a clinician, I've written a book called Over the Rainbow, The Love, Loss, and Legacy of Your Dog. And so that's a self-help book for anyone who's lost a pet. And there's QR codes throughout the book that link to PDFs and guided meditations to help with that healing process. I've also created a resource book that clinicians can use or anyone can buy that's just for grief in general. It's like a workbook. Okay. So that's one of the hats that I wear as well. And then, I guess within the practice, within Trauma and Grief Institute, actually, if I could back up, I also offer coaching. So I'm a EMDR consultant. So whenever I work with an organization that offers EMDR training, so I offer them coaching support. And I also facilitate workshops for other organizations. So the Crisis and Trauma Resource Institute, I work with them sometimes to offer their programs to other organizations. So that's sort of like the Krista Helman hat. I've also presented at conferences. I've developed an EMDR approach of working with grief. And then on the other side, the Trauma and Grief Institute side, as executive director, I find myself still wearing the hat of a little bit of bookkeeper and admin, probably more than I need to, as well as clinician and peer and, so many hats when you're running a group practice.
Yeah. Are you enjoying the switch over? So you went from solo practice to doing it, running a practice with somebody, and now you've got a large space with 9 offices. And I know you're straddling that line between renters or pay for use and contractors. Are you enjoying this role of group practice owner?
I am. I really am. There was a few surprises, even just the switch from, sharing a particular business model clinic with somebody to running a different business model clinic on my own. There were some things that I wasn't expecting. But I'm enjoying it. I really love the sort of like looking at things from a higher level and trying to problem solve and manage things from there. I would like to have more time to spend on the actual running of the practice. Right now I'm still seeing clients. And so that's a balance that I'm having to work with right now.
When you have spoken with other group practice owners or watched other group practices grow, what do you think is a common misconception or mistake that practice owners make when it comes to making legal, financial, operational decisions as the CEO of their business?
I can't think of like anyone else that I've met where I would say that was a mistake that they made, but maybe I can just talk about my own, what I've learned from myself. I really thought that the practice would be in a place where I could remove myself from seeing so many clients so quickly. And I didn't think that this phase right now where I'm really, I'm still almost seeing a full caseload and basically working full time as a director. So I didn't know that this phase would last so long. And, because as you grow, you need to start adding supports. So that really is one of the things I didn't realize was going to be the trade-off. And I don't know why I didn't think of that, but I added an admin person, which is amazing. And I didn't think that I needed her. And she really quickly went from 5 hours a week to 10 hours a week. And then I was like, okay, I need to really embrace the social media aspect of running a business, which is not something I'm good at. So I brought on someone to help me with that. But as you bring people on, that costs money. Marketing costs money. And so then you have to somehow make up for that. So there's that balance. I think that I didn't realize that it takes longer to get to a place where you're just running your practice.
How long did you think it would take?
I thought it would take about 6 months, which I think was really naive of me. I don't know why. And it's fine. It's fine. I wish that I had better insight so I could mentally prepare myself. But managing my time is really one of the biggest things that I've learned to do, is to just say from this date to this date on this time, this is what I'm doing as a clinician. And then from, on these hours, on these days, I'm director. Because for me, I found trying to go back and forth throughout the day was too much of a switch. So,
yeah. One of the things that I think is important, and a lot of us don't really sit down and do, I'm actually guilty of it right now, is sitting down and saying, what is my ideal schedule? And when do I show up the best for all of these different tasks? And a lot of times, I think when we start group practice, having been a solo practitioner, we kind of feel like we have to keep the same schedule for our clients because that's what they're used to. And if I change it, maybe they're going to disappear. And then that means less money to pay for this and this and this. But really honing in and how do I maximize when I feel like doing admin work and when I show up best as a clinician, when can I do social media stuff if that's what I hate or don't really enjoy doing? When is the best time of day or week in order to do that? And I've done that throughout my life as a clinician, but I think it tweaks and it changes too, right? And so just like it doesn't stay the same as it was as a private practitioner, it doesn't stay the same as you grow your practice. So even for you, now you've got admin, which I imagine takes stuff off your load, but it also, when do you connect with that person and make sure that they're doing the job and pass on things? How have you seen your schedule change? You've been doing this in this role for a year now?
So June was the official transition of it being a group practice. So it hasn't actually been that long. But I hear what you're saying, and I keep changing my schedule, trying to find that best tweak as well. And I know for me as a clinician, I do my best work before lunch. And so if I'm, stretched and I feel like I need to see more clients, I would rather open up another morning spot than to go in the afternoon. And then, my director hat, I'm a bit more flexible with what time of day is good for me. But for me, I'm really having to keep track of what I'm doing. And I think it was you, Lisa, that was saying we should be keeping track of everything that we do.
Yes.
Yesterday, for example, was my admin day. And my husband off to work at 6 a.m. I was sitting on the couch on my computer checking emails, and I was happy I was down to 167 emails. Which even though I have an admin, I still have to review stuff, right?
Yes.
And the next thing I know, he's back from work, and I got up and I had lunch, but I sat while I was eating my lunch, and I was like, what did I do all day? I know I did something, So when we see clients, you've got that tangible, I saw this client from this hour to this hour. But when you're doing this other type of work, it's, I worked on 3 contracts. And so that took me, 2.5 hours. And then I created this, video little bit to give to my social media person. And, but the time slips away. And I think a lot of people who, don't run a group practice don't realize how much time there actually is, and just all of these little things. I mean, I think similar to people who might work for a community center or an agency who see clients and then they go into private practice, they don't realize, there's actually a lot of admin work attached to running that. And then running a group practice is just that on steroids, really.
Yes. Yeah. Does it surprise you that you went from 5 hours to 10 with your admin as quickly as it did?
Yeah. I could probably go higher. Yeah. I'm just waiting for some things to fall in line before I do that with her. One of the best books that I've read, and I don't know, it might have actually been you that recommended it. It's called Buy Back Your Time. Was that you that recommended that book?
No, unfortunately, I can't. I cling to that one.
Okay. I forget who the author is, but it's called Buy Back Your Time. And it really created like a shift in my mind where I always have had this mentality of like, I can do it myself. And this book really like drilled in the message of, okay, so you can do it. Good for you, but should you be doing it? And where should you be, diversifying, or where should you be delegating? And I really had to have a look at myself and what am I good at? Like, sure, I can do it, but I'm not good at it. So why am I doing this? It's causing me so much anxiety and a whole lot of energy to, let's say, create a social media post because I'm just not familiar in that area. Why am I doing that? I can hire someone who loves doing it and can do it in like 2 seconds. And admin work, right? I can answer the emails. I can, change appointments for my associates, but it takes time. Why should I do that when someone else can do that? And I don't really enjoy doing that. So that is probably the biggest thing is buy back your time, knowing what are you good at, what are you not good at, and what can someone else be doing for you.
Yeah. And that if you're like me, the more there's somebody there doing the admin stuff, if I jump in and do something to help out or to feel like, okay, I've got the pulse on the business again, I actually screw it up. And then it's either me or the admin. And now I'm costing everybody time and money. So it's better just to have the hands off and run in your lane, really.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking in my head is stay in your lane. But I think the key is to know when is it time to change lanes? Because I think at the beginning when you're starting a group practice, you are doing everything because you just most people don't have the funds to hire an admin right away or a social media person or a marketing person, or even a business consulting person to support. So when is it time to switch lanes? Because I'm still busy now with admin stuff. I can't imagine if I had been stubborn and didn't bring her on. I would probably not be doing very well mental health wise.
Yeah. And I think sometimes one of the things that I hear from people who are especially just starting out is, but I can't afford an admin. And a lot of times we even the title of that book, Buy Back Your Time, you have to spend the money in order to free yourself up to vision and grow and be the CEO of your business. And yes, an admin person isn't seeing clients, isn't actually making you money, but the trade-off is huge and can make you money if you're not doing that. And I forget where I heard it, but are you doing a $20 an hour job or are you doing a $150 an hour job?
That is exactly when I finally gave in. Because I thought, okay, I'm going to pay $35 an hour for this support, someone who can hit the ground running. I don't have to manage or monitor her. Yeah. And how many, what is my time worth? And, I'm paying myself more than $35 an hour when I see a client. Or even if you take into account admin work, when we see a client, I make more than $35 an hour. So that was really it, is I'm actually saving money by spending money by bringing someone on.
You're part of the Group Practice Connection. How has that supported you or played a role in the last 6 months of growth of your group practice?
Community is really, that's the main reason why I joined, is I wanted to meet other group practice owners. I noticed that, when we went from West Ottawa Wellness, where it was, more just fee for use clinicians, there was very much there's a bit more of a peer equal feeling. Mm-hmm. But when I transitioned to having split fee associates, I noticed there was a bit of a different feel in the office. And so I wanted some friends, I guess is one thing. And that's important to me. And I feel like that's a really big part of what is a protector from burnout. Is being around other like-minded people who you can talk to, who you can learn from, and who are going through something similar. And, I don't know everything. I'm still learning how to do this. I learn every time I come on one of the calls or listen to one of the calls that have been recorded. I'm still figuring this out as I go. And I can have some self-compassion for myself when I hear other people also learning and figuring it out as they go.
Yes.
And I really feel like there's enough, I truly believe there's enough work for everyone. Even though, some of us have been experiencing a bit of a slow intake throughout the fall, with everything that's going on with people having some financial insecurities. But I feel like there's enough work for everyone. And, hearing how other people are getting through these times with their practice, with their clinic is really helpful and valuable for me.
Do you feel like you embrace that title CEO?
No, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I love the performing in the leadership role. I love helping people, or at least I love thinking that I'm contributing towards helping people. But I'm uncomfortable with being in the spotlight. And someone might say, well, you present at conferences and you've written this book, but I don't actually like the spotlight on me. So I think that being the CEO is sometimes a bit weird to think about, because for me, I'm just doing a job and I'm helping, and this is what my role is, and this is what your role is. And we're working together. So yeah, I'm working on that feeling, but I'm really happy to be here.
Does it change anything to use that title or a similar title for you? Because you're saying, I don't like being in the spotlight. And I would say a lot of times when I'm challenging group practice owners, you need to be the leader. People joined your group practice because they bought into the vision that you have, and they're there because they're not as entrepreneurial, or they don't want to do a lot of the things that you do. And so it's our job to step up and lead. Does it change things to use that kind of title? Do you know what I'm asking? I'm not sure.
I think, yeah. I think the reason why I say there's a little bit of discomfort is I've experienced some unhealthy leadership relationships, and my leadership style is not through fear. I don't use, at least I don't think I do use fear-based tactics to lead. And so I think for me, it's getting used to the idea that some people, when they hear that title about me, will automatically associate me with that particular way of leading. And so for me, it's really about trying to show through my actions otherwise that I am a leader in a different way, through listening, through supporting, through trying to work collaboratively, finding solutions. So I'm not sure that answers your question. Yeah,
for sure. And it kind of leads into one of the questions that I had given you before was, there's no one size fits all approach to having a group practice. We all have different leadership styles, approaches, values. So what's one thing that makes the Trauma and Grief Institute stand out or uniquely yours? Is it something that reflects your values, or what makes it unique?
So I'm really approaching running this clinic with the mindset of high burnout for clinicians. So really trying to create that sense of community as much as possible. So whenever we bring anybody on, that's part of the conversation. It's not that you have to have your door open in between clients. I don't have my door open in between clients all the time, but that, really, if you come in and work in this space, we're looking for someone who is open to saying, how was your weekend? Or, can I ask you a question? So really trying to have that space where we can, and we don't have to be perfect, and it's okay to, lean on each other from time to time for support. So, we had a Christmas gathering or a holiday gathering, at dinner where, those who are available could come. And because also the other thing is we have 15 clinicians, 9 office spaces. So there's some people who never actually see each other. And so it's important that we actually have opportunities to see each other. So, once, every 4 or 5 months, I try and have some sort of social where it's voluntary. If you want to come, you can come. Once a month, I'm trying to offer these peer support. So peer consultation. So you can come and ask stupid questions about how to work with your clients or how to run your practice or whatever. It's a space where we can support each other. The other thing that I feel like makes this a bit different is I'm trying to transition away from just psychotherapy. And I know there's not a lot of other clinics that offer this, and maybe there's a reason for that. But as a social worker, I feel like there's more to mental health than just psychotherapy. It's the holistic approach. So, starting this Friday, we Trauma and Grief Institute is hosting bi-weekly. I'm calling it Evening Exhale. It's a Friday night where you come and we have either a sound bath or we have a breathwork class, maybe some gentle movement. And it's just, very accessible. The price is really low. So that those who can't afford psychotherapy or those who want to, add it on to their wellness can do that. We've got a retreat coming up in May in Charlotte Lake in Ontario for anyone who wants to join. So I really envision Trauma and Grief Institute addressing at the clinician level, the holistic aspects to prevent burnout. And then at the community level, also embracing everything that's needed for wellness, mind, body, and spirit.
That's awesome. And then it kind of comes full circle. And are you considering those things when you're thinking about your ideal schedule too, right? Like a lot of times.
Well, like you said earlier, sometimes I just need to say no to myself.
Yes.
So I had this idea that I can do anything, which I know I can, but maybe I shouldn't do it now. So yeah, that is some self-work I'm working on. I've got all these great ideas, but maybe sometimes I might go a bit too quick, but we'll see.
I think that's part of being an entrepreneur too, right? Like, this sounds good. And it's really identify, like, is this just shiny object syndrome, or is this actually in alignment with the values and what I'm wanting to provide for my clinicians and for my community? And
that's where group practice connection, the community is so good, because then you can throw something like that out there in one of the conversations, and then you can get feedback from peers saying, I think that's a shiny object, or yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So you have lots of things going on, lots of offerings. If anybody wanted to check out Trauma and Grief Institute, or to see all the things that you are doing, how do they find you?
So our website is traumaandgrief.com. And if you want to send us an email, it's hello@traumaandgrief.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Krista. I really appreciate it. I love following your journey and all the exciting and different ways that you approach group practice ownership, but also just helping your community. And trauma and grief are very big and heavy specialties to be in. And so a lot of the things that you are doing to connect with your team and even just these Friday things feel very holistic and supportive in so many ways. And so excited to see what the next year holds for you.
Me too.
And if you are listening in and you're interested in connecting with Krista or checking out what she is doing, feel free to jump over to traumaandgrief.com. If you're interested in the group practice connection or learning more about what we do here, check out grouppracticenetwork.ca. And I look forward to having you join us again next week. Thanks, Krista.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with me on Empowered to Lead, the therapist practice. I hope you're walking away with something that you can put into action, because leadership isn't about doing more, it's about leading with purpose. If you're ready for deeper support, I'd love to see you inside the Group Practice Connection, my monthly membership where Canadian therapists like you get coaching, community, and the tools to build a business that actually supports your life. You can check it out at grouppracticenetwork.ca. The link's in the show notes. And hey, don't forget to hit follow so you don't miss what's coming next. We're building something great here, and I'm so glad you're a part of it.